Have you ever pushed yourself to the edge, working harder than anyone you know, yet the results you dream about keep slipping through your fingers, leaving you wondering if something is wrong with you or if success is simply not meant for you? You've read the books, you've tried the popular manifestation techniques, you've repeated affirmations every morning, hoping the universe would finally open the door. But deep inside, you feel that heavy, sinking truth. Nothing is really changing. The reason isn't that you are not capable. It's not that you are unlucky. It's that you are speaking one message with your words, while your energy is broadcasting something completely different. The universe does not respond to what you say. It mirrors the frequency you live in every single moment. When your dominant state is lack, frustration, or fear, that same lack keeps showing up in new disguises. In quantum physics, the principle of resonance proves that every particle vibrates at a certain frequency, and it will only align with frequencies that match. Your emotions, your state of being, are like a broadcast signal, no matter how beautiful. The words, "If the signal says scarcity, that is all that will return to you." Chris, a tech entrepreneur from San Francisco, worked 80 hours a week, attended every networking event, pitched tirelessly, yet every investor walked away. It wasn't until he faced the truth that his actions were powered by fear of failure and the need to prove himself that things shifted. He began embodying the energy of a man who had already secured his funding, moving through his days with calm certainty. Within 3 months, $1 million deal was on the table. If you've been running towards your goal, but it keeps moving further away, it's time to stop chasing and start tuning your frequency. Comment, "I want to change" if you're ready, because in the next part, I'll show you the very first key to shifting from scarcity into abundance, naturally and effortlessly. And once you understand it, you will never see your reality the same way again. You cannot beg to become someone. You must live as if you are already that person right now. Not tomorrow, not when things improve, but in this very moment. Because the version of you who has everything you desire already exists inside your mind and heart, waiting for you to step fully into it. Imagine wearing a tight, outdated coat that pinches your shoulders and limits your movement. You would remove it instantly, without hesitation, and the energy of lack is no different. It is something you can shrug off and replace with a new garment that fits perfectly, feels light, and reflects your best self. This is the power of state embodiment, the simple yet profound practice of waking each morning, placing your hand on your chest, closing your eyes, and letting yourself feel as if your goals are already reality. The feelings are vivid, the mental images detailed, the sense of certainty absolute. Science supports this. Dr. Joe Dispenza has shown that when you create powerful, positive emotions and combine them with rich mental imagery, your brain records the experience as if it truly happened, triggering the same neural patterns as the real event and rewiring your nervous system to expect that reality. Consider Michael Phelps, the legendary Olympic swimmer, who revealed that he had swum his races thousands of times in his mind before stepping onto the starting block. Hearing the roar of the crowd, feeling the water, and seeing the finish touch in his imagination so clearly that by the time he actually competed, the victory felt familiar. This is not pretending, this is becoming, and when you act, move, and make decisions from the state of already being, you shift what you attract without forcing outcomes. Your tone changes, your posture shifts, and opportunities seem to align more naturally because your external world begins to synchronize with your internal broadcast. The question is, will you continue rehearsing failure and doubt? Or will you rehearse the triumph you crave until it feels like the only possible outcome? So tomorrow morning when you wake, step into that role before you even step out of bed. Wear it like your own skin and watch how differently you move through the day. If tomorrow you woke as the most successful version of yourself, what choices would you make today that you have been putting off? Comment your answer now so that next part can show you exactly how to keep this frequency strong no matter what happens around you. When the outside world is chaotic, you become the still point at the center, the place where noise cannot reach and storms lose their power. Because true control is never about changing every circumstance. It is about mastering the way you choose to respond. Picture yourself in a tense meeting where voices are sharp, tempers flare, and the air feels heavy. Yet, instead of matching that tension, you inhale deeply, feeling your chest rise and fall, your mind clearing as if a window has opened. And slowly, the energy in the room begins to shift without you saying a word. This is the art of emotional neutrality, the ability to witness situations, thoughts, and emotions without being dragged into their current. And from that vantage point, you can consciously return to the frequency you have chosen, rather than being tossed around by external events. Science confirms this power, as research from Harvard shows that just 2 minutes of slow, intentional breathing can lower cortisol, the stress hormone, by up to 16%, allowing your body and mind to reset even in the middle of chaos. Sarah, a marketing director in New York, once lived on the edge of burnout, consumed by deadlines, targets, and constant digital noise, until her body forced her to stop. She began practicing 3 daily pauses, where she would close her eyes and breathe deeply, focusing only on the rhythm of her breath. And within weeks, not only did her anxiety decrease, but a failing campaign she had been managing found unexpected solutions and turned into a success. Protecting your inner energy is not a luxury. It is a survival skill for those who want to lead their reality instead of reacting to it. The next time you feel pulled towards stress or conflict, imagine yourself as the calm center of a spinning wheel, untouched by the outer rim, knowing that you decide which energy gets access to you. Right now, close your eyes for 2 minutes. Let your breath be your anchor and feel the difference it makes in your state. Then share your experience in the comments so others can see what is possible. But you might be wondering, what happens if, despite my best efforts, I get pulled back into the old spiral of frustration and doubt, and all my progress feels like it's slipping away? You do not need to win the entire battle. You only need to win this moment, because the present is where all change begins. And when you master a single point in time, you shift the entire course ahead. Imagine you are about to release a complaint or a bitter remark, the words almost forming on your lips. But you pause, you inhale, and you ask yourself one powerful question: what is the best thing I can do right now? This is the essence of the pattern interrupt, a technique that breaks the momentum of negative thought by inserting a sudden change in behavior, tone, or focus. And when paired with a power question, it redirects your attention toward possibility instead of limitation. In the field of neurolinguistic programming, studies have shown that altering a habitual response even for a split second disrupts the neural pathway that fuels it, weakening the hold of the old cycle and giving your brain a chance to form a new connection. John, a former Iraq veteran, lived with the shadows of PTSD, and each time a memory surged to the surface, threatening to pull him under, he would stand up immediately, breathe deeply, and engage in a different physical action. Whether it was stretching, stepping outside, or splashing cold water on his face. Over time, these micro-victories compounded, and the moments of darkness became shorter and less intense. You do not need to overhaul your entire life in a single act. You only need to choose differently in the next breath and then the next. Every time you interrupt the script, you weaken the old story and give strength to the new one. So the next time your mind slips toward that familiar loop of frustration, sadness, or fear, stop at mid-sentence, change your body position, and ask that single question again. What is the best thing I can do right now? Share with me the results when you try this, because someone else may need your example to break free as well. But then you may wonder, How can I go beyond escaping the negative and actively create the positive energy and reality I truly want to experience? By giving out the energy you want to receive before it arrives, you create a powerful signal that begins shaping reality around you. This is not about pretending or forcing a smile. It is about choosing to embody the vibration of the outcome you desire and letting it flow naturally into your interactions. When you act as if the abundance, love, health, or success you seek is already yours, you broadcast that frequency into the environment. And thanks to the phenomenon of mirror neurons, the people you encounter unconsciously reflect that same energy back to you. Imagine walking into a cafe and genuinely thanking the barista before your drink is even made, offering warmth and gratitude with no expectation in return. That simple gesture creates a ripple that not only changes their day, but subtly shifts yours. Lisa, a single mother in Texas, worked long shifts at a diner. Yet she greeted each customer with a radiant smile as if they were the most important person in the room. One afternoon, a regular customer doubled her tip, explaining that it was not the food or the service, but the way she made him feel valued that kept him coming back. These are not coincidences. They are the natural consequences of becoming a source of the very energy you wish to attract. Proactive frequency broadcasting works because energy is contagious, and consistent acts of kindness, confidence, and joy builds momentum that draws matching circumstances. The mind may resist at first, whispering doubts or pointing to the absence of proof, but every time you choose to project what you want to receive, you strengthen that inner frequency until it becomes second nature. For the next 24 hours, treat every encounter as an opportunity to send out the signal of the reality you are ready to live. Smile, appreciate, encourage, and watch how the world bends subtly toward you. Then share your experience, because your story may inspire someone else to try it too. But you might ask, how can I sustain this energy when deep inside I still wrestle with disbelief? Doubt only disappears when you have personal evidence, when you witness with your own senses that your actions are producing real change. No amount of theory, motivational words, or secondhand stories can replace the certainty that comes from your own experience. The fastest way to build this certainty is through micro wins. Small yet deliberate actions that you can repeat consistently until they become part of your identity. These victories might seem insignificant at first, but they stack over time, forming a solid foundation of self-belief. When you decide to walk for just 10 minutes every morning, drink an extra glass of water, or spend 5 minutes writing down what went well in your day, you send a clear signal to your mind that you are in motion toward a better version of yourself. Behavioral psychology shows that repeated small actions create self-efficacy, a deep trust in your ability to influence your own outcomes. Mark, a man from Chicago, once weighed far more than he wanted and felt overwhelmed by the thought of major change. Instead of starting with an intense gym program, he simply committed to walking 10 minutes each day. 10 minutes became 20, 20 became an hour, and over time, he lost 40 kilograms while building a quiet but unshakable confidence in himself. The key is that these wins are under your full control and provide immediate feedback, reinforcing the belief that change is possible and already happening. Each micro-win is like placing a brick in the structure of your new reality, and soon the walls around your old doubts collapse because the proof is undeniable. You are no longer asking if you can change. You are living the evidence of that change. Every day, choose one action right now that you can complete today. Something small enough to guarantee success, yet meaningful enough to matter. Do it with intention. Notice how it feels and mark it as a victory. Then share what you chose, so others can draw courage from your example. But you might be wondering, if I want to accelerate my results, is there a way to shorten the process? Yes, use your environment and community as a catalyst. Because when you place yourself in spaces that naturally pull you toward growth, you multiply your progress without relying solely on willpower. Human beings are wired to adapt to their surroundings. And when those surroundings are filled with people moving in the same direction, you instinctively rise to match their energy. This is the power of social accountability, where the positive pressure of others keeps you committed even on days when your own motivation fades. Pair this with environmental design, which means intentionally shaping your physical and digital spaces to support the habits and identity you are building. Remove distractions, place visual reminders of your goals where you can see them, and keep tools for action within easy reach. Research from Stanford shows that joining a commitment group increases the likelihood of achieving a goal by up to 65%. Not because the tasks are easier, but because you feel supported, observed, and encouraged. Anna, an engineer in Seattle, had been struggling to complete her startup product alone, often losing focus and second-guessing her ideas. Everything changed when she joined a mastermind group of like-minded creators who met weekly, shared resources, and celebrated each other's wins. In just 3 months, she launched her product to the market, crediting the group's energy and accountability for cutting her timeline in half. By surrounding yourself with people who embody the results you want, you absorb their mindset, habits, and confidence as naturally as breathing. If you cannot find such a space, create one. Even if it starts with just 2 or 3 people committed to showing up and keeping each other on track. Fill your home, workspace, and daily routine with triggers that point you toward action, not avoidance. The momentum you build in such an environment can carry you further than sheer effort ever could. Decide today to either join or create a circle that challenges and uplifts you, and then comment, "I am ready to declare your commitment." But you might be thinking, what if I have no one to walk this path with me at all? When there is no one else, you become the one who leads yourself, the steady voice that pulls you forward when the path feels uncertain and the days grow heavy. This is the power of becoming your own internal mentor, imagining and embodying the future version of yourself who has already overcome the obstacles you now face. That future self carries the wisdom, discipline, and clarity you seek, and by giving them a voice in your mind, you create a constant guide who knows exactly what to say to keep you on course. One simple yet profound method is to record words of encouragement, spoken with conviction, and play them each morning so your day begins anchored in empowerment. Another is to write letters from the perspective of who you will be in 10 years, offering advice, reminders, and belief for the you who is here today. Future self-visualization is a technique used in psychological therapy to increase motivation and provide a clear sense of direction. Because when you can see, hear, and feel the life you are building, your actions align with it naturally. Emily, a writer from Los Angeles, found herself lost in depression, doubting her worth and her ability to create. She began writing detailed letters from her 10 years older self, filled with compassion and vivid descriptions of the life they had built together. Over time, those letters became a lifeline, a map she followed out of the shadows and into a career where she published her first novel. When you take on the role of your own guide, you remove the need for constant external validation and build an unshakable trust in your inner compass. Each morning, connect with that future version of you and ask, what would they do today to move forward? Then act on the answer without hesitation. The more you practice this, the more that voice becomes second nature, ready to lift you in moments of doubt. Write a letter to yourself in the future and let it reveal who you are becoming. Then share the feeling it gives you so others might try it too. But you may still wonder, how do I keep this fire alive forever? By connecting every action to your deepest values, you transform ordinary tasks into a powerful source of lasting fuel that keeps you moving forward even when excitement fades. Motivation built on shallow rewards runs out quickly. But when your actions are rooted in what matters most to you, they become non-negotiable. This is the essence of values-driven action, where each choice aligns with a reason that reaches into the core of who you are. It could be exercising not just to look better, but because you want the strength to play with your grandchildren for many more years. It might be saving money not just to have a bigger account, but to create security for your family and freedom for yourself. Psychology research on positive motivation shows that people who tie their goals to deeply held values have a persistence rate over 90%, because quitting would feel like abandoning something sacred. A physician in Boston has maintained his running habit for over a decade, not for medals or appearance, but to set an example for his patients. Every morning, rain or shine, he laces up his shoes because he knows his actions carry a message far louder than his words. When you anchor your habits to your core values, discipline becomes devotion, and progress becomes a natural extension of living in integrity with yourself. To start, write down your most important values, then list the ways your current goals connect to them. When the link feels strong enough that breaking it would mean betraying yourself, you have found a source of energy that will never run dry. Every time you act, remind yourself of the deeper why behind it, and let that why speak louder than excuses or temporary discomfort. This connection turns effort into a form of self-respect, and that self-respect fuels you through obstacles that would stop most people. Take a moment right now to write the biggest reason you want to change and share it, so you can solidify it in your mind and inspire others to do the same. And finally, when you are ready, you might ask yourself, what should I do right now to begin? Choose the smallest action you can take in the next 5 minutes and do it right now, because momentum is not born from thinking or planning. It is born from movement. Inspiration fades if it is not anchored by immediate effort, and the fastest way to lock in your current state is to translate energy into motion without delay. This is the principle of immediate action, where the size of the step is irrelevant and the speed of execution is everything. Research in behavioral science shows that if you fail to act within the first 24 hours of forming an intention, your likelihood of following through drops by half. But if you move instantly, even in the smallest way, you create a psychological commitment that is difficult to break. It might be sending a single text, making one phone call, writing the first sentence of a proposal, or laying out your running shoes by the door. Tom, a college student in Miami, shifted the trajectory of his entire life because instead of thinking about applying for jobs after watching a video like this, he opened his laptop, drafted an email, and hit send before his inner voice had a chance to talk him out of it. That single message led to an interview, which led to an internship, which turned into a full-time role that opened doors he never imagined. Your action today might not look dramatic, but it can trigger a chain of events that alters your path completely. Do not underestimate the power of tiny, decisive moves repeated consistently. They build identity, they shape belief, and they rewrite your story one page at a time. So as soon as this ends, do not scroll away. Do not save it for later. Up, decide on the smallest move aligned with the change you want and execute it without hesitation. Then tell someone what you did, because sharing reinforces your commitment and inspires others to act as well. If you truly want to transform your life, like this video. Leave a comment about your first action and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Thank you for choosing to spend these moments here among millions of other videos you could have watched. That choice alone says you are ready for a major turning point in your journey. And now it is time to prove it to yourself with the very first step.